Hi, I'm Gregorio Arciniegas, and you see that funny guy on the screen? Well, that's me. And today I will be presenting you my fine arts project. But before we really get into the presentation, I would like to explain a little bit of what my project is about. Well, in the NBA and in sports, there's such things as iconic photos. You may have seen them in social media, or in TV, or even in magazines. Well, with these iconic photos, I want to do a certain tribute to the NBA history. And in order to do so, I'm going to use pixel art. And what I'm going to do basically is that I'm going to take these iconic photos, the most iconic photos of the NBA, and turn them into pixel art. Without further ado, let's start with my project and my presentation. I hope you enjoy. Well, my first reference is Craig Robinson. Craig Robinson is a British artist who does pixel art, and basically Robinson's approach is with sports and depicting highlights or important moments of sports throughout pixel art. In this case, we have the portrait of Peter Beardsley, and if you don't know, Peter Beardsley was a really famous player back in the 80s. He played in the Premier League with Newcastle and Manchester City, and in this image we can see that it's Peter Beardsley, I think, wearing the Manchester City uniform. And I think the interpretation to this image, we may say, is that as Craig Robinson is a British artist, he's trying to pay tribute to Peter Beardsley because it's a icon in sports of his own country. So I think that's something you should be proud of. Okay, so my second conceptual reference is Ivan Dixon. For those of you who doesn't know who Ivan Dixon is, he's actually a pretty famous artist. He has worked with Childish Gambino. He worked with the NBA Sacramento's team in making an animation for them, and he even worked with Snickers. Well, moving on into the piece of art that I'm going to explain or take reference of. This one is The Simpsons introduction. Well, turns out that in 2015, Ivan Dixon made one introduction of the episode 14 of the season 16 of The Simpsons. Well, Ivan Dixon's approach is talking about popular culture, and what he does with popular culture is that he depicts icons of popular culture throughout digital media. In this case, his digital media is an animated GIF, but it's really an animated pixel art video. But I couldn't put too much of the video because it didn't handle it. Well, the point is that, of course, the icon of this uh, pixel art is The Simpsons, and The Simpsons are basically an icon of the popular culture. My third and last aesthetic reference is Michael Chokbuk. Michael Chokbuk is a social media artist. He uses Instagram, and there he posts sometimes animations and drawings or sketches. These are all about NBA, and he focuses on basketball. Basically, Michael Chokbuk aesthetic approach is going with basketball, and he depicts and draws basketball history or basketball moments that are important to him, and basically a little bit of culture or popular culture. Moving on into this specific animated GIF, it's LeBron James making a reverse dunk. You can see that when he converts the dunk, the colors changing from yellow to purple, representing the colors of Los Angeles Lakers. A little context behind this image is that months after Kobe Bryant's death, turns out that LeBron made this highlight, and maybe like 20 years ago, Kobe made the same dunk. And this is a very special moment, not only for LeBron, because LeBron was very intimate with Kobe, but with the Lakers' legacy, as Kobe Bryant is a very important figure, not only for the franchise, but basketball and recently popular culture. Okay, now that I explained the references that I'm going to use in this project, let's talk about a little bit of the images I am going to pixelate. So, these are the two images that I'm going to pixelate, and in a bit, I'm going to show the context of each image. The first photo was when Kobe won his fifth championship in 2010. This happened in the finals of the 2010 when Kobe defeated Boston Celtics. The second image happened in a regular game of the 2010 season when Dwayne Wade and LeBron James made an spectacular alley-oop, and this photo was taken moments before LeBron dunked that basket into the hoop. Well, moving on to the other two images. The first one was taken in 1998, moments after Michael Jordan hit the game winner against Utah Jazz. This moment was so special because Michael Jordan, with that basket, won his sixth championship in a row. Now, the other image was taken in Kobe Bryant's insane dunk in the 1998 All-Star Game. Now, you may be wondering, why did I choose basketball, or why did I choose the NBA? Well, since the past 2 years of my life, I have really made a full devotion to basketball, not only as a sport that I love, but as a form of entertainment. I think I have watched the NBA since the past year and a half, and I loved it. With this project and pixel art, I want to show a tribute to NBA and basketball history. So, moving on into the sketch and explanation, first I'm going to talk about my conceptual connection. Well, in this case, my conceptual reference is Ivan Dixon, and what Ivan Dixon does is that he depicts icons of popular culture throughout digital media, and in this case, my icons of popular culture in basketball are LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Will Chamberlain, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, as you see them in black and white in the picture or with colors. Now, moving on into my aesthetic connections, my two references are Robinson and Chocball. And what they basically do is that they depict moments in sports or highlights about it throughout digital media, and this is what I'm going to do, but with pixel art. And this is the result for my first image. Well, moving on onto the second image, conceptually speaking, again, my reference is Ivan Dixon, but this one is a little bit different because, in my personal opinion, I think Kobe Bryant has turned into an icon of popular culture, and this is what I'm going to depict conceptually speaking in the picture. The picture is about Kobe. Now, with the aesthetic connections, Robinson and Chadwick are the same things that are doing in the past image. They depict moments of sports throughout digital media, and in this case, a little detail that I changed was that instead of putting old players, I put contemporary players, and these players are Jimmy Butler, Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden, and these are the three images or three persons that I'm going to include in my picture. And this one is a connection between present and past, and not as the other one that was past and present. And this is the final result. So, my exhibition strategy. For this project, I chose to make a web page. With this web page, what I wanted to do is to make it as neat as possible as a real life gallery, but digitally. So, in this case, what I did was that I mounted or created my own web page with my own project and turn it into a gallery. Okay, so this is the web page. Right here you can see the main screen. If we scroll down a little bit, you will see the description of the project and basically of what the project is about, as I explained in the first part. And if we move to the gallery, you will see here that there's my two series of images, and that's basically my gallery. Now let's talk about my risk, my possibilities, and my limitations. If we start talking about risk, I saw two big risks. The first one was that I wasn't capable of doing the four images, the complete gallery. So what I did was that I only did two. The second risk was I used a platform called pixel art to make the pixel art, and I didn't even know how to work on it. So what I did was that I watched some tutorials and I mastered the web page. Now, talking about possibilities. Possibility number one is that I can finish my gallery. That's the main possibility, that I am capable of doing the four sets of images, the complete gallery, as I just said. And the second possibility that goes a little bit beyond of my project is that I can do this not only with the discipline of basketball, I can move on onto tennis, football, soccer, I don't know, anything, even my own life. I think this is a very cool idea of doing things into pixel art, real life into pixel art. That's a very cool approach. And when we're talking about limitations, I recognize that my biggest limitation was time. We lost a few classes of fine arts, but still it wasn't possible to make this project in just 3 classes, count, not counting the ones that we lost. So I needed to take some extra spaces of time in the afternoons or during the weekends to complete this project. But it was worth it because at last I could make half of it and I could make the presentation and of course this video. Well, with that being said, I hope you really like my presentation, and honorable judges, thanks for everything, and I will see you next time. Bye bye. Thank you very much.